Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be trying GLAMINATRIX cosmetics for the first time. I picked up the Nearly Natural palette, which I've heard lots of really good things about. I've had this palette for a couple months now and still haven't gotten around to filming a first impressions. So I'm really excited to dig into this one today. So if that sounds good and you would like to hear my first impressions and thoughts on the Nearly Natural palette and the GLAMINATRIX eyeshadow formula in general, just keep watching. So I'm a little short on time today for filming, so I went ahead and filmed the swatches ahead of time and the close-ups of the palette, so I'll go ahead and insert those now. Hopefully you'll be able to see right off the bat that this is definitely a neutral leaning palette, but there are some fun kind of pops of color, mainly the green, the plummy, and taupey sort of shades, but they're still very neutral in their tone. So I think I understand why so many people loved and raved about this palette, because it seems like it's going to be pretty user-friendly in terms of putting looks together and playing around with neutrals, but also some really wearable color as well. The shimmers swatch like a dream. I think there might be a couple of different shimmer formulas in here. I'm not 100%, but some seemed a little bit thicker and some seemed a little bit thinner and a little bit more sparse in the swatches. But overall, everything swatched beautifully. All the colors looked gorgeous. I don't think there's a dud in here, so I'm really looking forward to getting this on my eyes. But before I do, I'm going to prime as I normally do with my Ulta Beauty Matte Eye Primer. I thought about grabbing out my NYX glitter primer to use with the shimmer shades in this palette. But I thought for this first impressions, I would just try the shimmers without a glitter primer and see how they work that way first. I'm just going to set my eyeshadow primer as I normally do with my Pat McGrath Labs Under Eye Blurring Setting Powder. This is how I start all of my eyeshadow looks. So we're just going to see how these shadows perform over my typical base and without any glitter primer added. The shimmer shades to me seemed like they may be able to stand on their own without a glitter primer. My only concern with that would be fallout, because these are so sparkly. So sometimes if I'm concerned about getting glitter all down my cheeks, I'll use a glitter primer for that reason. But for today, I'm just going to try it as is and we will see what the fallout situation is like. Now comes the really difficult part of trying to decide what look to do. My eye immediately goes to the greens, but then a part of me is like, should I try some of these other shades? I feel like this would be a really good candidate for a 3 looks 1 palette video, so let me know if you're interested in that in the comments, because there's a lot of different looks I think you could get out of this palette. I'm gonna hold off on the green for now, just because I feel like that's probably a look that a lot of people have seen with this palette. And I think I'm gonna go for more of the kind of warm mauvey kind of tones and do something a little bit purpley plummy mauvey inspired. I'm gonna start with a transition shade in the crease and I'm gonna use the shade Barely There. I'm having a very dry skin day because I used tretinoin last night after taking a break from it for several months. So if you see any of my dry patches, just pretend you didn't. I did pretty much all creams and very little powder on my face because I just felt like it was looking super dry. Gonna have to get out my winter skincare routine pretty soon here as the weather is starting to cool down. Definitely have a different skincare lineup in the winter because my skin just gets so dry. So far, so good with this first matte shade. It seems really even, blendable, soft, buttery, and buildable. It's not depositing a ton of color on my lids right away. It seems to be letting me kind of build it up on itself really nicely. So now that we've got something down in the crease, I'm going to start going in with some of these more mauvey shades. So I'm going to take the shade Untouched. It's like a perfect dusty kind of rose mauve shade, and I'm gonna start building up the outer corner and also blending that up into the crease as well. And those two shades are blending together beautifully. So far, really loving the mattes. They seem very beginner friendly as well. I know GLAMINATRIX is known for their shimmers. They are a indie brand out of Australia, by the way. I probably should have said. So the shipping to the US is a little bit, gotta brush hair. The shipping to the US is a little bit expensive, but if you're looking for something really special to add to your eyeshadow collection, I feel like it's worth it because these are formulas you're not gonna find in just any palette. To be honest, I don't really have too many indie eyeshadows. I mean, I've got a good amount of Odin's Eye, as you all know, but I haven't tried a lot of the more popular indie eyeshadow brands as of yet, which was why I was really looking forward to trying GLAMINATRIX. Really, really loving the application process with those mattes. They're like blending themselves and they're looking really smooth. So now let's deepen things up a bit with the shade Naturally, which is sort of like a deep plum. Sorry if I'm a little bit shaky today. I think I had too much coffee. And it's definitely affecting my ability to get those close-up shots of the shades that I'm using. Ooh, wow, I love that shade. You can definitely see the purpley red undertones coming through, and I think you're seeing them on camera really well as well. But it still looks very neutral, I guess, native maybe to my skin and to the eye look. Like, it doesn't look like a bright purple that's just completely out of place. I think those mattes really set up a nice gradient so that this is building up really effortlessly. Loving the way that's looking so far. I'm just gonna dip back into the shade Untouched and make sure that my edges are nice and blended here. Untouched was that lighter mauvey matte. And then I'll touch into Barely There a little bit, which was that first transition shade. And just make sure I've got a nice blend up into the brow bone. I take my eyeshadow quite high just because I've got a lot of space up here. I also just like more of a blown out kind of lived in eyeshadow look, if that makes sense. Okay, I'm definitely gonna take 2, potentially 3 of these shimmers and try to fit them into the look. So I'm gonna go darkest to lightest, I think. So I'm gonna go in with the shade Raw, which is kind of, how would you describe this? It's got a little bit of that plummy mauve to it. It's like a beautiful, almost pink, but not a bright pink. It's definitely more of like a purpley, neutral, mauvey, toned down kind of a pink. And I'm just gonna take that on my finger. It picks up so well on my finger that I feel like I would never need to use a brush unless you just wanted to. And I'm gonna put that in the outer half of the lid. Oh my gosh. Wow. If you like really sparkly, wet look shimmers, I think I found the palette for you. How stunning. This eye look just keeps getting better and better with every shade. That one has a lot of silver glitter to it. I was thinking it would be almost like a rose gold, but I like that it's not just gold. It definitely has a shimmer reflect to it, but it's just so sparkly. It's honestly stunning. I'm debating between Nearly Natural and Unveiled. So let's grab Nearly Natural. Oh my gosh, all of these are so freaking pretty. Yeah, I'm just gonna throw as many of these on my eyes as I can. Okay, so I'm taking Nearly Natural, which is this one, and it's definitely got a little bit more of a bronze rose gold to it. I mean, these shimmers are like molten on the eyes in the swatches. Are you kidding me? Are you seeing that? I don't even know if the camera was picking up just how remarkable that is. Wow. That shade is amazing. I really hope you can see that in the camera because I definitely get the hype around GLAMINATRIX and this palette. I think that you can still get these shades in, sorry, I'm just gonna take a little bit more raw, the first shimmer shade we used, and just blend those two together a little bit. I don't think they sell this in this palette anymore, but I do think you can get the shades as like a bundle and you can put them into a palette, which is part of the reason why I wanted to buy it when I did, because they had announced that it was going to be discontinued, and I was like, I really am going to kick myself if I miss out on this. But I'm really glad that they have the option for people to still get the shades, because they are gorgeous shades, obviously. Okay, and then for the inner corner, I'm going to take the shade Unveiled. This one's got a lot more white to it. It's almost like a champagne. And I'm just going to put that right in the inner corner. Ooh, and I see a little bit of pink to it as well. So maybe there's a little bit of a flip to it even. And just lay that right in the corner. That is magical. I wonder though if you weren't into like this dramatic of a shimmer, like if you didn't want it this thick on your lids, I still think you could shear these out and make it look really, really pretty. So maybe I'll do that in a multiple looks video for one of the looks as like a more wearable everyday look. I mean, I would wear this every day, but you know what I mean, for people who don't want as much impact from their shimmers. But if you want impact from your shimmers, you're definitely gonna get it. Let's actually go back in now with that deepest matte and just touch up the outer corner, because I feel like a little bit more depth in the outer corner would really give me the drama that I'm looking for. And we lost a little bit of that color when I applied that first shimmer to the outer corner. I'm going to go ahead and take that shade on the lower lash line as well. Just kind of bring that purpley plum back because it's so pretty. This palette also strikes me as one that you could just like take one of the shimmers and one of the mattes and have a really easy but very impactful and gorgeous look in a really quick way. So I love that you have that option for like getting ready quickly in the morning for day to day. And then I'm just going to take the shade Untouched, which is that lighter mauvey shade, to blend out the bottom lash line. And I think we'll be done. Like, I don't know. I feel like this doesn't need too much else. It's stunning. I'm just going to go run and put some mascara on, and then I will be back to show you the finished look and give you my final thoughts on this palette. I think you can tell my final thoughts are going to be glowingly positive. I'll see you in a second with mascara done. Okay, I'm back with mascara on. My mascara today is the Hamish Long Lash and Volume, which is another tubing mascara that I really like. And we got to close out this video with my thoughts. My thoughts on the GLAMINATRIX Nearly Natural. So I used 3 of the mattes and 3 of the shimmers. Everything applied perfectly, no notes. And I can't wait to come back and dig into the other shades in this palette. I think this is one I'm definitely going to use no pan left behind style because I'm not going to be able to help myself. The mattes blend so well, so smoothly. They're buildable. They are the perfect amount of pigment and a really, really nice finely milled texture. The shimmers, as you can see, are mega impactful, so sparkly. They went on really easily with my finger. I'll try to, if I remember, maybe leave some wear notes in the description box about the fallout and if I get any creasing throughout the day, because I didn't use any glitter primer with these. But yeah, other than that, I don't have anything bad to say about this. I'm very pleased, but I'm not surprised because I don't think I've heard anybody say anything negative about this palette. So I'm very glad that it lives up to the hype. Well worth the cost of the international shipping for how much I know I'm going to be dipping into this. So let me know if you'd be interested in seeing any particular looks with this palette, or if you have this palette and you have some looks that you love to do with it. I would love to hear about those in the comments as well. Other than that, thank you so much for watching today. It's fun that I get to sneak in a little eyeshadow palette review even though I'm on a no-buy because I purchased this one before the no-buy started. So it's really fun to get to try a new eyeshadow formula with you all today. I hope you're having a really good day wherever you are, and I will look for you in my next video. Bye.